What's up, guys? Welcome back to Better Developer Docs. In this video, I'm going to show you how to debug SQL queries in your WordPress site. So WordPress has a MySQL database that works with PHP, and then on the front end, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and every now and then you might find that a page is loading really slowly and you're not sure why that is. So one of the things that you can check is the SQL queries that are loading on that page, and in this way understand if there are any queries on that page which are the cause of the page running really slowly. And in my experience, there's two ways to do this. Sometimes you can use a piece of software called PHP X-Ray, which is at the server level, and you can also print the queries out to page manually. Let's cover the PHP X-Ray method first, because that's actually the easiest. But you may or may not have this piece of software on your server. In the past, I've used Lightning Host as a host, and they do have PHP X-Ray. So if you're on Lightning Host as well, you can do this method. So go to your cPanel, which is the first thing to do, and then scroll down to Software, and then find the PHP X-Ray app. Click into that, and then you're going to see a screen that is similar to this. So you're going to be able to choose the URL with which you want to track on. So some of your servers will have multiple URLs. So just select the specific URL that you're interested in here, and then you can specify a mask, which basically means to specify a specific page or all pages or whatever. If you want to do all pages, just put an asterisk in here. If you want to put a particular page, you can add that in there. You can also set either a time limit or a number of requests. And oftentimes I just set a a time limit. So set the time limit for whatever you think is appropriate. In the case that I used this, I set it for 24 hours and then came back and checked it all out the next day. Once you've had those settings or got those settings, just hit run, and then you're going to have to wait for the time that you set to expire. And then once that's expired, you can then come back to this PHP X-Ray app, and you'll see like a list of all the tracking that's been completed. And so from there, you can just click on the eye icon to get some further analysis. And then from there, it will show you a list of all the queries and the time that it's taken to do those queries. And so if these queries are really slow, like for example, if they're in the range of like multiple seconds or even up to 20 or 30 seconds, then you know that you've got a problem with your SQL taking too long. If it's sub 1 second, like a lot of these are in the example, then there probably isn't an issue with the SQL query. And so maybe potentially you can move on, after you've eliminated this as a potential cause for the page being so slow. But if you do get one of these being the culprit, then you can click into the specific call, and it will tell you exactly what the MySQL is, which is being run, which is so slow. And it will also tell you where in your WordPress application that call is coming from. So whether it's a plugin or whether it's a custom theme or what have you, it will tell you where that is, so you can go and do something about it. Oftentimes, you might have like a plugin which is just maybe quite inefficient in the way that it's built and is slowing down a page, and so you can kind of narrow it down this way, uninstall the plugin, and fix the problem from there. So yeah, if you've got PHP X-Ray, then that's a nice simple way to do that. But if you don't have PHP X-Ray, then there is another manual way to do this. So I wrote another post about this. So let's just jump over to this post. show SQL queries used to load a page on your WordPress site. And yeah, I'll put the links to both this page and this previous page in the description below if you want to go and read those for yourself. I would suggest you do, because there's some nice code that you can copy. Okay, so how can we manually add some code to our WordPress site in order so that our SQL queries can be printed to the page and we can understand which of those are the potential culprit of the page being slow? So go over to this page, which is in the description below, obviously, and we're going to want to add some of this code to our site. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go to your wp-config.php file, and you're going to want to find this particular line in that file. If you haven't got it there, then you can add it. So what I've done is I've set this to be true, which will allow WordPress to start tracking the actual queries that are being used for any particular page load. And then I've wrapped this inside of a conditional statement based on if there is a get variable in the URL called show SQL. And the reason why I'm wrapping it in this conditional is because I only want this to happen if I load the URL. I don't want any user who accesses the site to be able to trigger this, and I also don't want them to see the SQL queries printed to the page unless they are actually putting this this get variable in the URL. The thing is that no, they won't know to do this, and you will. So basically, you can get this functionality to run for you and you alone by adding this code all wrapped in this conditional. So yeah, go to your wp-config.php file, and if you haven't got this line already, add it. Okay, so I'm in my WP config file, and I can see that my save queries variable is defined here to be true, and it's wrapped inside of my show SQL equals true. So if I was to run that, then WordPress would start to save the queries. If you don't have any of that, just add all of that, and then you would save if you made any changes. And then from there, we're going to want to print these queries out to the page. So I'm going to copy this next set of code, and then I'm going to go over to my dashboard, and I'm going to go to appearance and then theme file editor. And I'm going to go to the functions.php of my child theme in this case. And I'm going to add some code in here, the code that we just copied, and I want to wrap this in the conditional that we had in this file as well. So I'm going to copy that bit, and I'm just going to take the code that we want and put it inside of the conditional. Cool, there we go. So what this code is going to do is, obviously, if we have this in the get in the URL as a get variable, then we're going to get the standard global for WordPress, and we're going to print out the number of queries run on a page, and we're going to print out the actual queries themselves. So now we're going to save that. Successful. Now we're going to load our URL. And so now you can see that the home page has got 33 different SQL calls in order to render it. And then we have here a list of all 33 of those calls. So what you can see here is the first one. It gives you the actual SQL query. It gives you the time that the SQL query took, and then some other information as well. Most in this particular case, I'm just worried about these two mainly, but also I think there's a stack here. There's a stack here of the files that have been called in executing this SQL. So in this way, you can go and check on the time taken for each query to run, figure out if it's too long, if there's a problem, and if there is a problem, then you can go and look at the specific SQL and start to troubleshoot from there.